What's up, everybody? Cassadine Stirrup here, coming out of Ithaca, the courageous, controversial Black Ravager, coming to you right now to treat you like the little dirty beggar you are. You plate liquor. You defy the gods. What's up, guys? I am back. This is the part 2 of the Odyssey review, and we shall continue. So I bid you adieu. Yes. It's crazy, man. I thank you all for the love and the hate, whichever have you. I still like the discourse. I still like the discussions, the banter, the debates. That's what makes this fun. But sometimes, people worship these celebrities in films, and then they start to threaten your life, threaten your family, wish death upon you about people who don't know you and about fictional stories and movies that aren't real. They're sick in the head. It's just a movie, pal. But as a movie critic, you know what's crazy? I think I actually got this off of YouTube, wrote, to just jot it down so people could understand what is the job of a movie critic, right? What is a movie critic? Class is now in session, guys. I'm going to remind everybody what a movie critic is, okay? So a movie critic's job is to analyze, evaluate, and review films, providing informed opinions on their artistic, technical, and entertainment value. You heard that? The primary goal is to guide audiences on what to watch through their critiques, also contribute to the broader cultural and academic conversation around cinema. Here are the core responsibilities that define their daily work. Are you listening? Open your books to page 394. Rest in peace, Alan Rickman. All right, so number 1 is evaluating cinematic elements. Critics assess multiple components of a film, including the script, plot development, acting performances, directing choices, cinematography, music, and editing. Whoa. And then number 2, providing consumer guidance. They help audiences, decide whether a movie is worth their time and their hard-earned money. Yes, by clearly explaining a film's merits and flaws. Their written or spoken verdicts often utilize a star rating, letter grade, or a fresh Rotten Tomato percentage. Oh, we're going to get to Rotten Tomatoes real soon. Watch out, yeah. Rotten Tomatoes, the biggest Hollywood movie, grading psyop on the planet. The controlled, systematic rating system. Rotten Tomatoes is the god of everyone's opinions. It's the god of everything. Rotten Tomatoes decides which movie is good and which movie is bad, right? All right. And then on to the next law of being a movie critic is contextualizing art. They utilize their knowledge of film history, every movie they know. Greatness, epicness, filth, garbage, downright parody movies. And the knowledge of that film history, they theorize in industry trends to give readers or listeners a deeper appreciation for the movie's thematic depth and cultural relevance. You hear that? Cultural relevance, okay? So research and interviews is what we do. Critics often attend film festivals, early press screenings, and press conferences. I never will, because I can't hold my tongue, even when I try. And people still think I'm a shill. But even when I try to bite my tongue, I always think about all the epic movies I've seen in my life, and I have no choice but to attack the same structure and to give grading and opinions and thoughts, especially for a director like Christopher Nolan. I don't have a choice because you've given me epicness, and now you give me this. Okay? Call me Epicus. My name is Epicus now. But yes, so, many also research historical background They conduct interviews with actors, filmmakers to add depth to their articles, podcasts, or video essays, whatever, whatnot. That is basically, even Google, the main basis of what you would deem a movie critic. Lately, it seems like a lot of people have, especially me and a lot of other people and even other critics around, seeing big critics and all these people spouting just little things about this movie. The Odyssey is epic. It's a grand epic. Even when you look it up on Google, Christopher Nolan's epic 2026 film. I'm like, Google, would you stop the bull, calm it down, and just call it the Odyssey 2026 film? It just had to put that word epic. If there's one word to describe the Odyssey, it's epic. I'm like, wow, okay. Anything else you want to add to that? You know what? It's like, let me, and here's the thing. I'm going to destroy Rotten Tomatoes at this point right now, especially when it specifically comes to the Odyssey. And bear with me, guys. I'm almost done with this. Then I'm going to get back into finishing this review. Because, boy, I love the support and the hate for you guys, whoever you are. I love you very much, whether love or hate, because the first video, the first part of the review, part 1 of the review that I did last night, uploaded, is doing very well. It's headed to 4,000 views so far, almost 200 comments, and almost 400 likes. I thank you guys for showing me some love. Shout out to, Greece, Athens, Mediterraneans, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to help you guys out. I'm trying to just speak my truth in regards to a story so near and dear to your heart and so, very enriched in your culture, and is the originated place of where this story was birthed, only for that story to get fart and pooped in your face and get thrown back in your faces. I'm doing what I can for you, Greece, and all the Greek people out there. I'm trying. But yeah, let me just get into this. So, and it's funny, someone in the comment section told me about Rotten Tomatoes' relationship with Universal, right? So riddle me this, right? So if you may not know, if you're not ken to know, Universal Studios is a parent company. Well, Universal Studios' parent company, Comcast, gotta love good old Comcast, owns a majority stake in Rotten Tomatoes, right? So Universal Studios' parent company, it's their daddy. Where's my dad? All right, Tom. So Universal Studios is basically, yes, it's owned by Comcast. Comcast owns a major stake in Rotten Tomatoes. Comcast / Universal Studios owns 75%, but specifically Rotten Tomatoes is owned by Fandango, and Fandango is a joint venture that is 75% owned by Comcast. So Comcast / Universal Studios, NBC Universal, owns 75% of Fandango, which is basically which Fandango owns Rotten Tomatoes. You see how we're trickling down to the psyop? We're trickling down to the strategic structure of the epicness of this film and all its glory that is on Rotten Tomatoes, right? You get me? And who produced the Odyssey, the epic film of Christopher Nolan? Universal Studios. Who owns Universal Studios? Comcast. Who owns Rotten Tomatoes? Fandango. Who has a joint venture with Fandango? Comcast / Universal, 75% in the stock. They damn near own Rotten Tomatoes. So do you think Rotten Tomatoes, which is basically owned by Universal Studios / Comcast, is going to give a Universal Studios produced movie a realistic, honest grade in their system? No, they're not. Yeah. Bro, listen. This movie is at 96% with critics. Whatever. But it sits at a 97% with the audience, right? So you're telling me today the Odyssey has officially been deemed Christopher Nolan's highest rated film. Whoa, what a bunch of bullshit. I think the world is losing its mind. Come back to me. Ah, yes, I like it close. Yes, yes. Okay, so listen to riddle me this. Let me back this up here. I'm not juvenile, but I need you to back that ass up, okay? I'm not juvenile, but you need to back that ass up, baby. All right, let me be really serious right now, because it's to a point to where I damn near wanted to cry, because I feel like I'm living in Bizarro World. I feel like Will Smith and I Am Legend. I could provide food. I could provide shelter. Like, I feel like I'm the last person. I'm the last, and very few. That's just how I'm feeling at the moment. But I know there's other people that are thinking like me and are saying the same thing that I'm saying about this movie. I feel like all hope is lost in that this world has been digitized. It's been AIized. It's been sheepanized. Everybody is just an NPC and they just go with the flow. So you mean to tell me this movie is deemed higher? First of all, let me I'm going to do my best to stick with just Christopher Nolan's work. For this to be the highest rated film for Christopher Nolan. So you're telling me this movie's better than Memento. It's better than Prestige. It's better than Interstellar. It's better than Oppenheimer. It's better than Inception. It is better than the Dark Knight trilogy. That's what everyone's saying, right? Let's wind the clock back a few times. The people in Gotham wouldn't dare, but Batman, he showed your true colors, yes. Listen, you must think I'm a damn stupid freaking fool for you to make me believe that unanimously this is graded higher than The Dark Knight. Christopher Nolan's shining jewel, his crowning jewel. The first ever superhero film that not only feels superhero fantastical, but is also deemed just a good cinematic film. It shattered that linear path of being between Oscar worthy and superhero worthy. It combined. The Dark Knight, the Odyssey will never, ever be as groundbreaking and as innovative as The Dark Knight. And it right now it's higher. It's rated higher than The Dark Knight. It is the highest rated Christopher Nolan film. Bullshit. And like I told you, who owns Rotten Tomatoes, y'all? Like I told you earlier, guys, it's all a part of the plan. I'm a man of my word. Yeah, bro, it's all a part of the plan, bro. It's all a part of the plan. You got me effed up, and I'm not taking it. I'm not believing it. I'm not falling for it. But you can if you want to. And like I said, if you enjoy the Odyssey, if you love the Odyssey, good on you. That's your opinion. This is my opinion. I hold no hate towards you. But to see movie critics I've grown up with most of my, young adult life, my teenage life, and I would see how they would break down so many films. But just because this is Christopher Nolan's recent movie, it's his grand epic, you don't hold that same energy for other films and how you structure and how you attack other films. You didn't bring that same energy to this film. It gets a pass, right? I'm not saying people are paid. They're paid shills. They're lying. It's your opinion, right? But it's just odd to me that a lot of these same critics analyzed and were meticulous with so many different movies. But when it came to this Christopher Nolan film, you're less meticulous, you're less structured, you're less analytical with this film. But with all the other reviews and everything that I've seen, you attack those movies differently, right? And like I said in the part one to this review, it's a straight travesty And not only with the storytelling in itself, the mutilation of Homer's story in itself from Christopher Nolan, but the fact that this movie is higher than the Lord of the Rings trilogy in Rotten Tomatoes. It's higher than the Dark Knight trilogy. It's higher than Gladiator. It's higher than Troy. It's higher than 300. Movies that have shaped pop culture. This movie is higher than in Rotten Tomatoes. Now, I'm not saying that the grades won't change, but I'm telling you this right now. If those grades don't budge, this is a systematic plan bullshit of a strategized movie, orchestrated through the powers to be of Universal Pictures, orchestrated that owns Rotten Tomatoes, orchestrated to have those scores. You're not fooling me. This movie is not better than any of those films. Let's stick to Christopher Nolan here. This movie is not better than Interstellar. It's not better than freaking Inception. It's not better than the Dark Knight trilogy, bro. It is not better. Dude, I enjoyed Oppenheimer more than this, bro. Because at least with Oppenheimer, at least Christopher Nolan, as a biopic for Oppenheimer, you stuck with the source material. Obviously, some things got exaggerated, but you stuck with your guns, and you stuck with the main consensus of Oppenheimer's story. But in this case, I guess you think you're above Homer's story, right? To where you can tell it however you want, you can modernize it, and you could do whatever you want with. Oh, and also, did you guys know that the Greeks taxpayers helped contribute to this movie that mutilated and took a shit on their beloved classic story? You know that the Greek Greek politicians, the higher up politicians in Greek, the Greek consensus and the citizens were pissed about the portrayal of this movie, that there were no Greek actors in here, and the higher ups told them, you guys have no say. We should be happy that they're telling their story, and we have no control on how artistically they want to tell it. So we're gonna make you we're gonna get your taxes as taxpayers in Greece, and we're gonna use that to contribute to this travesty of a film that disrespects Homer's epic tale that originated in Greece. And the political higher ups to be in Greece force the citizens to use their taxpayer money, sit there and just watch this contribution of a travesty and filth in the theater. That is so messed up. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know Greek taxpayers helped contributed to this film, bruh. This is filthy, bro. This is wild. And it's crazy that, people... I don't always agree with Nerdrotic. I don't always agree with Critical Drinker, but what I can agree with, Film Threat, all these other, big YouTube channels and movie critics that are so analytical, meticulous, nitpicky, because they grew up in the era of the golden age of films. And it's in their blood, it's in their DNA to do those things with modern film. Because I don't care what nobody says, bro. Modern film is declining. It's declining at a scary rate to where mediocrity has now become peak. Because we have all forgotten the formula of the 80s and 90s, early 2000s, of films that shaped pop culture, that shaped our lives, bro. Dude, The Dark Knight changed my freaking life. It made me fall in love with cinema. Interstellar changed my life. Inception changed my life. The Odyssey ain't gonna change my life, motherfreaker. I'll tell you that right now. No more, no less. Interstellar, Dark Knight, Inception, those films made me fall in love with cinema in such a way that is not even understandable. My brother who died, God rest his freaking soul, Avion Stirrup. Me and my brother Avion, bro, would watch me and my brother Avion and my brother Chantry, man, we would watch The Dark Knight. As soon as it came out on DVD, we would watch it a billion freaking times over and over again, reciting Heath Ledger's lines. Rest in peace to Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger's performance in The Dark Knight takes a huge steaming shit on this whole movie, Odyssey. This man literally put his life on the line for our entertainment, our enjoyment. And this is what he gets. A movie like this to be a little bit more better than what he gave us in The Dark Knight. Y'all better get the freak out my face with this real fast. That score better drop real quick. Or we gonna have some problems, Jack. Sarah. Bob. Alright, I'm just saying random names, but alright, so we gonna get that out of the way. Get that Rotten Tomatoes bullshit out the way. That fabricated, Hollywood grading system that's owned 75% by Universal, Comcast, 25% owned is stake shareholders in Rotten Tomatoes by Warner Brothers as well. I'm looking at you, DC. I see you had your 25% stake in Rotten Tomatoes that grades movies. It's funny, how do movie companies own stock and stake in a movie grading system that grades movies? Like, dude, you can't make this up, but we're just gonna overlook that, right? Yeah. Alright, so let me finish this review. Because, yeah, man, this is part 2. We're gonna get into it. If you already saw where I stopped at with part 1 of the review for the Odyssey, where I basically said I just felt bad for the people of Greece. There not being any accurate representation of Greek blood, mythology, and culture and ethnicity in this film. And everybody's excuses, Nolan said he's gonna modernize it. Motherfreaker, does that give him the excuse to do that? Does that make it right for him to do that? Because your god, Nolan, said that he's gonna modernize it and make it different. Yeah. That makes it okay. Yeah. If this happened to America, if this was switched on our end, and say Russia or China took one of our epic tales, right? Like say Rocky or Terminator or whatever, and they just made it straight up about, they recasted all our epic heroes and beloved just characters that we love in its American story, and they just turned them all Asian. They turned them all, Russian, and they just gave us a bland half-ass story told on big screen, but it's from our culture. And we have to sit there and watch, and our taxpayer money gets taken and contributed to that. Inaccurate, bland, sorry excuse of an adaptation of a tale that originated from our land that we love so much. And everybody's saying, shut up, just take it. Take it in the ass, baby. Where's the lube? No lube, actually. And it's a 15-incher. It's gonna be poking out your gut. I'm like, wow. It's borderline grape. I'm not gonna say the R word, but it's borderline grape of Homer's story. That's what it is. But it's Christopher Nolan though. He's modernizing it. You don't like it? Shut up. It's Big Daddy Chris. It's epic. I'm like, all right, dude, I'm done with this. So I would say the good parts in this film, Anne Hathaway, she brings what, and I always love Anne Hathaway. Oh God, I love her. Anne Hathaway is a very beautiful woman. I know lately, I think she's about to have her first child. Is she pregnant? If I'm not mistaken, I think. But Anne Hathaway, she brought it. She truly did. She did what she could with the film. If you think about it, Anne Hathaway did it sound like Anne Hathaway in certain aspects, at least Anne Hathaway and Lupita as well, they kind of had a little bit somewhat of an accent. It's like in some instances, you can hear it at a very minuscule level of the accent that you hear. But out of everyone, Anne Hathaway, she brought it. She brought it, which she always does. She's a beautiful and great actress. Really, cut down the cloth right down. We're talking about Princess Diaries, baby. Classic. And now she's evolved to this. I love it. Anne Hathaway brought what she could to the role as a mother and a queen who was put in a rock and a hard place from moving on from the love of her life to being a faithful queen to Ithaca, and just, having to do what needed to be done because there needed to be a king, there needs to be a rightful man in the throne, whether it would have been Telemachus, Tom Holland, the bitch Telemachus, to take over the throne. And even when at the end, when you see him and, Matt Damon, Odysseus is like, and Telemachus, or Telemachus, he will be the king. And you see him, in the little, his little white, decked out, draped, gold around the neck and everything like that. I'm like, take that shit off of him. This dude's a bitch. You didn't give him time to have his full circle coming of age story from an uneducated, untrained young pup to becoming a trained, educated pup who always had it in him, has the blood of Odysseus running in his veins, and he finally rises to the occasion, and they take out all the suitors by his father's side, and he becomes the man that he was always supposed to be, and then now he can be the king of Ithaca. You feel me? That's not what happens here. It's not. It's a dry, bare bones, sorry excuse, half-ass, sped up, so-called character development for Tom Holland's version of Telemachus or whatever have you. And I'm not for it. I'm like, no, we're not. I'm not accepting that. This dude he was getting his ass beat throughout the whole film. He killed one guy. Whoa! He threw a few tools for his father to help Matt Damon. It's like, can I really call him Odysseus in this movie? Because, bro, like I told you, the Odysseus and the way Odysseus is described in the tale, bro, of Homer's epic, it's like Matt Damon really didn't give me that. I got Matt Damon. I didn't feel a speck of the myth and the epicness of Odysseus that I've seen in the story that exuded through Matt Damon. I didn't get that. I got Matt Damon. And I already spoke about that in the first part. But again, Anne Hathaway, she brought it. She was honestly one of the most best standout performances in the movie. And John Leguizamo, however you say his name. I love him, man. He's such a funny actor. The roles that he's been in, very not a lot of roles, but very minuscule kind of roles. But his acting in this movie, it wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. It was just funny for me to see him. He's blind. He has the white hair. He's the older gentleman. It's just knowing who he is as an actor and seeing him in that makeup and the cosmetics and all that stuff. It feels parody a little bit, even though he brought it in the role, and he had an accent. John Leguizamo, if I'm saying his name wrong, the last name, I'm just gonna say John. He had somewhat of a Greek accent, so again, you hear hints of it, and I respect that. I respected Anne Hathaway, the actors and actresses that I believe really lost themselves in the role of the character is Anne Hathaway and John Bernthal. That John didn't really do it for me. You could kind of still hear his Brooklyn accent. He's from New York, Italian, you feel me? I'm like, this guy, is not, is he? he's not really trying, is he? You feel me? It's like some of the actors in here, bro. It's like you're not really trying, are you? Like, you're still John Bernthal. You're still Tom Holland. You're still Matt Damon. And then you got people saying that Tom Holland blew them away. I'm like, buddy. In some instances, he acted pretty decent, all right, but it's not. It didn't blow me away. I think Tom Holland acted better in Spider-Man No Way Home. Especially when Aunt May was killed, you feel me, by, Green Goblin, and he was facing Green Goblin. That acting, those parts were better than the whole thing he did in here, sir. Because you know why? What would have really gave Tom Holland the time to shine in this movie is when he realized that moment in the story when Telemachus realizes that he's talking to his father. And oh my gosh, bro, I'll tell you this right now. The scene in the movie, dude, that really gets me is when Athena disguises Odysseus to come back to Ithaca, and he's the old beggar. You old beggar. He comes back as he does not look like, dude, dude, watching it in the movie, it's ridiculous. I'm like, bro, they couldn't use CGI on his face to make him at least look a little bit different. This motherfucker just got a hood on. I'm just an old beggar. I'm like, cut the shit, guys. That's I'm like, when Anne Hathaway was talking to him and saying, "Oh, is Odysseus alive?" "Oh yes, he's still alive. He's still out there. He will show up when he's needed." I'm like, so you mean to tell me? And here's the thing. Don't make me think or imagine that in her mind, in everyone else's mind, that he looks probably in everybody's mind, in their eyes and their ears. They don't hear Odysseus. They don't see Odysseus. They hear an old man and they see an old man. But I don't want you to make me imagine that that's what they're seeing and hearing. I want you to show me. You could have put CGI on this guy, cosmetics or something, and make me see that they see that he's an old man, that his voice sounds different. But in the movie, he ain't, bro. He just he puts a hood on, and no one can recognize him. His stature, his voice, it looks utterly ridiculous. I'm like, y'all couldn't just change this man with CGI or something. Or literally just bring in an old looking version of Matt Damon and just bring him in. No, again, no mysticism, no magic. The only magic you see in this movie, bro, is with Cersei. And again, that is one of my favorite parts in this movie as well. When you see the grotesque pig, part. That part, I'm not gonna lie, that part was so uneasy and grotesque. And there's parts where I laughed at it because she's just like this. Oh yeah, and she's just like, oh. And the guys are like, I was like, oh god. I'm like, Odysseus, please come and help these motherfuckers, please. She's like, I'm gonna mold you. She's like, I'm gonna turn you filthy men who take everything and rape and pillage and destroy. I'm gonna turn you into what you truly are, pigs. And I'm like, wow. Some people are like, all right, are they just trying to do a SJW message in here? I didn't really see it like that, but it was just, bro, it was grotesque, but it was funny at the same time. And bro, again, the most travesty part, the most disrespectful part in the movie to me, especially, bro, is just the one of the coolest parts. Again, like I told, like, and I said this in the part one of the review. You take Polyphemus. You take the Cyclops, Polyphemus, the son of Poseidon, and you make him an idiot. He's the only thing he's capable of doing is just bruh. You took away his personality. You took away Polyphemus's personality. He does he in the story he's basically a cyclops, but he still has the personality of a human. Like, he talks. Odysseus feeds him the wine, gets him drunk, pierces his eye. And remember, Odysseus tells him, he said, "What is your name?" He's like, "I'm nobody." And then when he pierces his eye, he's like, nobody has blinded me. And all his brothers and sisters and everybody's, all the other Cyclops and people like, "What are you talking about? Nobody. What do you mean?" And then that one, dude, that is so detrimental to the story, because after they escape, Odysseus is like, "Motherfreaker, nah, my name's not nobody, I'm Odysseus, bitch." You feel me? And then he's like, "Daddy, Poseidon, Odysseus just did this to me." And then Poseidon's like, all right, motherfreaker, I'm gonna make your life a living hell. And thus ensues the true trials and tribulations and start of the story in the Odyssey. That's what really pulls the trigger, you feel me, with all the shenanigans of the gods. Y'all totally just left that part out, and instead he's just sleeping, and then once they pierce his eye, he's just like this. And they're like, "What is he? Is he talking? He could talk?" I'm like, wow, bro, I can't with this. It's like they took all the just fun and the mysticism and just that part, dude. If they would have just done it exactly just like the book, I'm like, dude, again, you're leaving true epicness on the table, true nuance, and just a fun thing to see for people that actually care about the story, that love the story, and you get to show them that on the screen, Nolan, and you chose not to do it. All right. And honestly, bro, again, going back to Anne Hathaway again, Anne Hathaway, one of the best performances in here. John Leguizamo, one of the best performances in here. Jon Bernthal, he was decent in here, but I still saw Jon Bernthal. I still saw the Punisher. "Let me tell you something." He's like, "You think you know my pain? No. Like, I still saw Jon Bernthal. I saw the Punisher. Say his name, say his name. Oh, the Foggy. I'm like, wow, dude. I was like, John, I love you, bro, but... And Jon Bernthal, he's such a good actor. I'm like, Christopher, you could have told him to just try a little just harder, you feel me? People are saying, "Oh, Jon Bernthal, he did a great job in this movie." I'm like, he was damn near the same. All right, if that's what you think, that's your opinion, but oh my gosh, bro. Motherfreakers in this movie were acting like how they act outside of the camera. They were literally acting like how they were in real life in certain aspects. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. I feel like I'm in Bizarro World. People are talking about Oscars. Are you kidding me? Oscars? Again, I don't think I'm not on planet Earth anymore. I've been abducted, and now I'm on planet 213, where mediocre movies are the shit. Somebody please save me. Get me out of here. Because I'm losing my mind, bro. I can't comprehend and compute what's going on. How is this movie the highest rated Christopher Nolan movie in Rotten Tomatoes? Oh yeah, Rotten Tomatoes is owned by Universal Studios / Comcast, and that's why. Alright, but let's continue, bro. Honestly, but the Cyclops part, I'll be honest with you, people are saying they want to see Christopher Nolan take on horror. I wouldn't mind that to a degree, because I'll tell you this right now, again, that part with Cersei and those pigs, that was so uneasy. And bro, seeing this movie in IMAX, I think I might have to go to an audiologist. I gotta get my ears checked, because the sound of when they were eating, choking, turning into pigs, the roar of Polyphemus, the Cyclops, was just, it was heart-wrenching, girdling. But that part, I'll tell you, bro, that part when he put the rock up and they were stuck in the cave and it was just dark, I'm like, all right. Dude, but it would just added so much more levity if they gave him his personality that was in the story. That would have been even more scarier, because he would have been like, "Oh, I'm feeling hungry." And he's in the dark, you feel me? He's in the dark and he just grabs him and he's like, "Gotcha." and he just grabbed, like, can you imagine? Instead, he's just, and I know, I guess it was to make it more scarier or more grounded, with him just like, ah, or not even, he didn't really make like, he just, and that part when he was eating them, I think that one shot, that I don't think people really noticed it, but I saw it. You see, I think it was his lungs and intestine falls out, because he bites into the soldier, and you can see half of his body, just hanging there, and then I think you see his guts, intestines, and his lung falls out. I'm like, that was a pretty sick shot. Mind you, I don't think people understand. I'm not taking away Christopher Nolan's talent on what he brought in this movie. I'm bringing in the point of Christopher Nolan not showing any passion in this movie. And this movie was shot in all IMAX. Good for us. Great. Awesome. But again, I just didn't feel the Christopher Nolan signature passion and je ne sais quoi in this movie. I didn't. I'm like, he brought Ludwig Göransson to do this score. Which Ludwig Göransson, he's not bad, mind you. He's done pretty epic stuff, Black Panther, other things like that. But with his scores, they sound more hip-hop than operatic. They sound more hip-hop than grandiose. Why didn't he bring Hans Zimmer to do this? This is up Hans Zimmer's alley. You know what? You know the type of music I wanted to hear in a movie like this? I wanted to hear the music like The Gladiator, bro. That score, Now We Are Free. You know, he's in the fields, just touch it, bro. I'm about to cry. Dude, that part alone, that score alone is better than this whole film. Like, people don't know the power of music and score can make a crappy film jump up to a good film if that soundtrack and score is lit. It is pulling you in, forcing you like, all right, it's epic. I'm sorry, this soundtrack's fire. The movie's trash, but the soundtrack makes it so much better. I didn't feel that in this movie, not at all. There was a part where the soundtrack was all right. And then I think it was when the Battle of Troy, when they took Troy over, that soundtrack was fire. That was the only time I was like, all right, that's dope. I like the soundtrack. But then throughout this almost 3-hour movie, the rest of the sound was just drums, just repetitive like sounds, drums, and whatever. I'm like, yo, I get it, chill. And then we all know Big Daddy Christopher Nolan is not the best at action scenes and just fighting. Certain scenes when there's fighting, I wanted to see blood. You didn't see much blood. I wanted to see buckets. This is a rated R movie, right? I want to see buckets. I want to see heads getting cut off, rolling. I want to see, dude, the part when they were fighting the giants. I forgot the island what the island was called, but in the story, that's when they went to the island of the giants. And that part, bro, dude, that part could have been so much better. It was epic, but I was like, oh my gosh, bro, if he just did it like the freaking story, the original lore, dude, the original source material. The part when they're just showing up, bro, and it's just like, oh my gosh, you guys are screwed. Get the freak out of here. And I found it funny when the giants caught up to them in the ships, and they're just chomping at the ships. These big-ass motherfuckers just chomping at their ships. That was hilarious with their swords and axes. That part was... that was pretty, bro. Again, I will not say that there was not cool epic parts in this film, but it's like pieces. It's certain pieces of epicness throughout a whole almost 3-hour movie where to me it was just kind of bland. Certain parts dragged, certain parts were just boring, but it had greatness within those little few sparks, those little few pieces within the film. But again, can you imagine if Christopher Nolan put his bitch ass ego to the side and actually made this movie as accurate as possible? This movie would have been 100% across the board off of your fake ass Rotten Tomatoes. This movie would have been universally loved if only Christopher Nolan just did it accurate and as blueprint as it was in the poem that Homer gave us, if he just followed the sauce, if he just followed the ingredients, the epicness we could have beheld. And I'm not going to change this. This movie should have been a trilogy. Christopher Nolan had no business putting a 10-year epic journey in almost 2 hours and 52 minutes, all in one. That's why I said earlier, I felt no emotion with anyone's death. I felt nothing. I felt nothing because you didn't give me time to attach myself and connect with these motherfuckers. So why should I feel anything when they're struggling and they're dying one by one? There was, dude, Matt Damon didn't even have a scene. You know, there in the story when he gets stuck with Calypso for all those years and he's just crying. He's crying because his men, you know, his Penelope, his, you know, his son, he's sobbing, he's crying. Matt Damon, he did not break down once to that degree that the story owed to us from what was told by how Odysseus was acting when he just realized, oh my God, bruh, my men, my wife, my child. He didn't break down. I'm like, all right, okay, I guess, whatever. So yeah, dude, again, it's just an inaccurate, soulless, surface level, live action adaptation of a story that, if told correctly, live action could have rivaled the trilogy of Lord of the Rings. It could have rivaled the trilogy of The Dark Knight if Nolan just tucked his balls in his ass and just did a trilogy with this and told it as accurate as possible. That is where I stand with this. And for my grade for this movie, I give this movie a C minus. And you know why? Because even Christopher Nolan on his average day, I still walk away saying, man, that was still pretty epic. I would watch that again. The rewatchability for this movie, to me, is zilch. It's nada. So that's why I had to give it that below average. Because when you're talking about Christopher Nolan standards, and you watch this and compare it to every single thing that Christopher has given us, and people want to deem this epic, I'm like, do you have amnesia? Have you seen what he's given us in the past? And this is epic? I'm like, okay, yet again, it's your opinion. Recency bias is a real drug. Recency bias is a hell of a drug because you're only praising it and sucking it and writing it off so good right now because it's his recent work, right? So you forgot how good his other stuff was. But yeah, guys, you know, that's it for me. Again, I already went down. I already talked about Elliot. I feel like I'm freaking ET over here. Elliot. But yes, Elliot Page, Lupita, Zendaya. I already spoke on their behalfs in this movie in the first part of my review. They definitely did not have to. I said, and people, dude, it's funny how the people attack me in my comment sections, and it's like, are you actually like listening to what I'm saying? Are you feeling my soul? Are you listening to every single word? I know these are long videos because I'm a passionate dude who loves spiritual, mythological, magical films, fantasy. Fantasy is my favorite genre of movies of all time. Fantasy and sci-fi, which lay between superhero stuff too, but I'm passionate about it. That's why I was saying I don't mind it in my end, even though it's still disrespectful because you got a black Athena and a black Lupita knowing, historically seeing, and retrieving knowledge of lore and everything, because Homer called Helena, what, white-armed and just the way that he described her, you don't think a black woman. But again, it's modern, so Christopher did a spin on it. I don't mind that, Christopher. But what I said, for you to hire Elliot Page, hire Zendaya to play Athena, and hire Lupita to play Helena, you have to show me that you casted them beyond their sex and gender and beyond their race. I was thinking that you casted them because they were bringing something to the table to the character that has never been shown or felt in the story. That's what it made me felt more okay with you just randomly just casting two black women and a trans person in a film, because they brought their A game. Truth of the matter, anyone could have played Elliot's role, anyone could have played Zendaya's role, anyone could have played Lupita's role. I've seen these actors take it there, and they didn't take it there in this movie. They didn't. Zendaya in Euphoria, she took it there. Okay? When Elliot was before transition and she was Ellen in Juno and another film, he/she or they them took it there. I've seen them take it there. And Lupita in the Quiet Place movie, Black Panther, you feel me? And I think that the other film, even in Us, in certain aspects, she took it there. They did not take it there in this film, bruh. And no one's gonna convince me otherwise. These were just standard, phone it in, I'll do the bare minimum of what I'm capable of type of performances. The only performance that I could even see Oscar worthy at all is probably Anne Hathaway or John Leguizamo. If I'm saying his name correctly, I'm sorry if I'm butchering the last name, but those two, honestly, those two for sure. Honestly, I would not mind if they were getting like dude, shut up. But I wouldn't mind, honestly, if those two were in the runnings for Oscar-worthy performances in this movie. Which, again, I'm saying that lightly. Because, again, y'all talking about Oscar performances in here. And I'm sorry, I have to bring it up again. I'm sorry, honey. Because for the work and movies that Christopher Nolan has given us, you mean to tell me that if you think these performances are on the level of Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, do you think these performances are on the level of Leonardo DiCaprio in Inception? You think this is on the level of Memento, the level of Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar? I cried hard as freak in Interstellar. I didn't shed a single tear in this movie, bruh. And that's on G, my guy. And that's how I keep it. Yeah, dig? I'm sorry. I was sitting in that theater watching the Odyssey like this. Dude, hurry up and die. Hurry up and put that dog out of its misery. Hurry up and escape the Cyclops. Just drained because you took the egotistical, asinine, inaccurate, surface level route with something that could have taken Christopher Nolan. If you did this correctly and made this a trilogy and accurately and so close to the beloved classic tale, this, if you did it the right way, this would have took you God status. Not GOAT no more, you're the god of filmmaking. If you did this the right way, but you did it the egotistical way. You did it the modern way. You did it the general audience way. Oh no, you did it for modern audiences way. Yeah, shout out to Critical Drinker. I know people hate his guts. And again, I don't agree with a lot of with some of the stuff that he says, but I agree with a certain amount. We can agree to disagree. But at the end of the day, we all love film. We just want to we want to be in that golden age of movies again. And will we ever get to that in this day and age? Will we ever get to that, or will the world end first, or will we ever get to the golden age of movies again? Ask me this. I think our clock is I think it's not clocking to you that I don't think we'll ever get to that at this point. If they're giving this movie Rotten Tomatoes high praise, if people are saying this movie is a masterpiece, if the Odyssey is a masterpiece, then The Dark Knight is God's gift to the cinemas. Interstellar is sci-fi godly essence to the cinema, right? Inception is mind-bending godliness to the cinema. If the Odyssey is a masterpiece, really, bro, I'm sorry. But yeah, guys, again, like I said, I give this movie a C-. And again, rewatchability for me is zilch. I would never watch this again. Performances, again. I know all these actors and actresses to the T, and I know when they could take it there. We've seen it in other projects. Small films, small roles, whatever. They've taken it there, bro. And to me, these actors and actresses that I've grown up with low-key and I've seen and I've watched for years, almost a decade, I'll tell you this. They could have done way better in their performances. Besides Anne Hathaway and John Leguizamo, everyone else was just them. They were just being them. When I know that they can take it there. And I feel like they didn't really do it. The fact that I didn't shed a single tear in this movie tells me it wasn't took in there, and that's on G. That's real. And the Travis Scott, we came in here for a story of Greeks. Yeah. We own suitors, and this tale of man versus God up in here. Oh, with the stick. I'm like, bro, if you don't get this rapping black motherfreaker out my face to start a Greek mythological film, Travis, move, okay? Jeez. I love you guys so much. Love me or hate me. I just want movies to go back to the golden age. What I grew up on. Terminator, Lord of the Rings trilogy, Dark Knight trilogy. You feel me? The 10 Commandments on VHS, boy. That's that real heat. That's that Broadway heat. You feel me? You got movies like Rocky. You feel me? Oh my gosh. Just... Damn. It's like, what are we doing? People are telling me to watch the Argonauts and the classic Clash of the Titans. I would watch the 2010 the 2010 Clash of Titans with Sam Worthington, Liam Neeson, and Ralph Fiennes as Hades. I would watch that a billion times more over than this film. That film to me is better than the Odyssey, and it's not because of their grandiose acting performances, not because the script is amazing and all that, because I loved the mythological Greek epicness in those films. Release the Kraken. The Kraken looks better than every monster. The Kraken in that movie looked better than every monster in here. You had Medusa in there, bro. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I wanted to see up in here. Plus Christopher Nolan's scripts, plus Christopher Nolan's cinematic prowess, adding on real Greek mythology, showing me the gods, showing me the powers, showing me the curses, showing me the laws, statutes, and rules of Olympus and between man and gods, bro. The men versus the gods, and defying the gods getting back their favor, and again, just epic stories, bro. I don't. Yeah, that's it for me, guys. C minus for this movie. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Leave a comment. Leave a hate comment. Leave your mom's phone number. I'm just kidding, y'all, but yeah, man. I'm just a simple guy who loves awesome films, because no matter what about our debates, our opinions, our discussions, y'all guys, I'll tell you, I'll be real with y'all, bro. Films helped me through a rough time, bro. I'm talking through times of bullying, times of suicide, times of being on heavy drugs, bro. And that could go for millions and billions of people across the planet. Great movies have shaped the course of people's lives for the better. Great movies give people hope out here, bro. Great movies can bring a whole community together, my G. Epic movies sometimes can damn near change the course of culture, my dude. That's the type of films that I want to see more of, and I hope we get to see again someday. I love you guys so much, and I'm out. Peace.